Hey guys, 821 Mayo here, and today we are going to be having ourselves another strategy guide, but this time it is going to be on Clubhouse, and the bomb site is going to be cache CCTV. I see a lot of misconceptions, a lot of misplays in terms of utility, positioning, and rotates on this map, so I want to give you guys some clarification on what you should do and what you should not do. And with all of that being said, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so the very first thing I want to talk about is reinforcements on this bomb site. If any of you guys ever watched my VOD review series or tip videos, I make it a very clear point on what you should reinforce and why you should reinforce it on this bomb site. So just to kind of refresh you guys, and for the people who don't know how I like to reinforce this bomb site, so obviously, you know, you want to reinforce both of these CCTV walls because those are the two exterior walls leading outside from the bomb site, giving the attackers direct bomb site access. The two bottom garage walls, the reason for this is because garage and holding garage is kind of the whole heart of CCTV and cache. Because once they, or sorry, what I should say, once the attackers either open the wall or open CC window, it doesn't really give you much playroom within CCTV itself. So what you instead do is play garage. That way, you know, usually you'll have a rotate here and just kind of use your imagination for this example. But usually you have a rotate or a line of sight. I'll go into that a little bit later on once I have the shotgun. But, you know, usually you'll have a rotate here allowing you and giving you access and rotation ability within CCTV from the rafters catwalk. Again, you know, once they get the window or wall open, you can't really play in CC all that much. So what the holding garage allows you to do is hold an area of the map that has a lot of importance, which is the bomb site, from a different area. So, you know, just to kind of cover the angles here a little bit, the guy top red can hold the breach cross by holding a head glitch here, holding the cross into CCTV. The guy in cache can also hold a cross. There's very commonly angles put along this wall, so that way you can deny any sort of cross into CCTV on the default plant. And then the rafters guy can also do the same thing from his rotate. So you have three different angles here where you're able to defend CCTV once the wall or window is open. Now, the window doesn't add as much pressure, but the wall definitely does. So that is one of the reasons why, you know, you want to reinforce the garage walls off, which is the original thing that I wanted to go over here. It just makes the rafters guy, his job a little bit easier. And if any of you ever watch my Twitch stream, which by the way, I stream there every single day, you should definitely come over there, chill with us. You know, if you have any questions to ever ask me, that is the best place to do it. Reinforcing these two walls just allows the defender, whoever's playing rafters, to do his job a little bit more successfully. Because a lot of the times, you know, whenever the attackers get the CC wall open, they'll opt for going to get garage control. And if these two walls are soft, and for example, they have the attackers have a Buck or a Zofia and Ash, some sort of soft breaching capabilities, you're making their job much easier by leaving these two garage walls soft. Just because, you know, they can buck it open, sludge it open, use an Ash charge. Instead, they are forced to use some sort of hard breaching utility, which is not only going to take up more time, but it's also going to be more utility costly for the attackers, because hard breachers are, you know, pretty significant in how much influence they can have during a round, right? So, again, you know, these two walls should always be reinforced. Before we continue on with the video, I would greatly appreciate if you guys like the video, so that way it pushes the video into the YouTube algorithm and a larger audience can see my content. Also, Shock Vaccine and I will be starting a podcast. It will be premiering this Friday, January 8th, so make sure you guys are there. I will be giving full details on where the podcast will be and what time we'll be going live, so make sure you guys go follow my Twitter. The rafters wall, again, a huge thing that I go over in my VOD reviews, especially in solo queue videos. The reason this wall needs to be reinforced every single round, unless you are completely not playing garage, is because if this wall is not reinforced, the amount of angles that the attackers are able to get by opening this wall and pressuring the rafters guy is extremely hard. Once the attackers start taking garage control and pressuring it, it already makes the rafters player hard enough by fighting the breach, fighting lounge, and also if they get the garage walls open as well. So you want to make his job as easy as possible, because this area right here is the hardest place to be and play once the CCTV wall's open. So if you don't reinforce this wall, you cannot play here you can't play rafters anywhere. You cannot crouch, pressure the enemies trying to walk in through the doorway. You are forced to play prone and be very limited in what angles you can hold and your rotation ability. But if the wall is reinforced, then you're able to play around here to, I would say, around here. Now, obviously, the garage window is also a factor to contribute in this position, but, your ability to play this position is opened much more just by having one wall reinforced. So if you guys take anything away from this video alone, reinforce the CCTV rafters wall. Please, please, please. And don't reinforce this wall, reinforce the right side of the wall. From my perspective, the right side. Alright, and the next two reinforcements that I want to talk about is the cache wall. Now, if you guys are a little bit more advanced, for example, let's say you're on a 5-stack, and you want to try something different, you can hold construction, which is what I'm going to get into a little bit later on. But, usually these walls are always reinforced. And then, as you can see, we have one more reinforcement left. So, out of the 4 panel walls, or the 4 panels in garage, that's 4 reinforcements. This is 6, that's 8, and then that is the 9th panel right there. So, as you can see in the top left, I have one more reinforcement left. Now, a lot of people will go for this wall and try to reinforce this. But the reason I disagree with this wall is because the only reason you're reinforcing this wall is to not allow the attackers to get outside access to construction, which is the room that I'm playing currently. But if you look at other parts of this room, you have 2 options to access this point. You have the outside window, which you can very easily vault into if the area is droned as an attacker. That grants you instant access to the room. And also, you have the Logi wall and the Logi hatch. So, reinforcing this wall isn't going to slow down the attackers as much as people think it is. Because a lot of people just reinforce this wall to reinforce it. And again, it doesn't really slow down anyone because the attackers are very able to open the Logi hatch, open the Logi wall, and they're granted the exact same amount of access that they would have if this wall was soft. So, reinforce or not, it really doesn't do much unless you're trying to hold construction, which we will get into next round. So to carry on my point from last round, you guys are probably curious, where should I use this 10th reinforcement at? And that's very simple, put it top red. What this allows you to do is play that area without being shot from the construction door. And then usually you'll see a rotate on either side of this door. I would much rather have it on the left side, because if it is put on the right and an attacker takes construction control, they cut off your rotation ability by holding this simple angle. Again, I make it a very clear point in my videos to try to cut the map in half as an attacker or try to section it off. And by doing this, you're cutting off one of the 2 access points from below for the defenders. There's only 2 places to get up into the bomb site, at least efficiently. It's red stairs and garage stairs. So by doing this, you're cutting off this red hallway. Anyone playing top red is forced to play there unless they want to take the gunfight through the rotate. So that is where you should put your 10th and last reinforcement. But if you do want to hold construction, and I'll kind of give you guys some pointers on what you should do. So I would suggest removing these 2 walls here. Now, if you remove these 2, that means you have 8 reinforcements down, and you have 2 that you can play around with. Now, as you can see in construction, you have 3 different walls, panels, whatever you want to call them, to reinforce. So this is where you would take away the top red reinforcement, and then put it on one of these walls. So you would have all 3 of these walls here reinforced. Now, the only way that the attackers can access construction by this point is by the window or the door or using some sort of hard breaching utility on one of these 3 panels. So, with that being said, you can usually put a Jaeger in here with a shield, or Wamai with a shield, or even a smoke. Mainly you want ADS or Wamai magnet protection, and then a shield or some sort of intel or a piece of barbed wire or something, at least to help aid you in holding this area down. Now, where should you put the shield if you do have one? Put it right here. What does this do? It covers both of the access points that I was just mentioning. So it covers the window and simultaneously covers the door. So by putting a shield on this sort of angle here, you can challenge the window jump in if they ever do decide to. Then you can also challenge the door. So that is what you should do in this kind of position or area. Now, to help aid the construction player, what you can also do is open up this wall here. This way, you are now establishing a crossfire from 2 different positions. You have the first one here on the guy playing behind the shield, and then you have the second one here in cash, holding the master construction door walk-in. So that's just a little variation that you can throw towards your enemies whenever you do find yourself the next time you are playing this map and you go to this bomb site. You can very easily hit the extendo mag into construction and play that and hopefully successfully lock that area down. Now, it's usually something that you want to do if you are playing against a team who is taking master side heavy. So let's say, for example, you go here the very first round of the game, you got defense first. You go CCTV, they open the wall, the CCTV wall, and then they have one person playing this position, and then all 4 and the last 4 remaining attackers rotate construction side. That's usually when you would want to throw in the adjustment in your defense, so that way you can counter the attacker's push a little bit more efficiently. So just a little rule of thumb to follow. Very basic thing to do with your reinforcements, kind of change them around, and then go forward with whichever one you like. Okay, now I want to talk about Jaeger ADS placement and barbed wire placement. To kind of start us off with this, usually you want to have an ADS top red. The reason for this is because a lot of the times, whether you have a bandit trying to bandit trick and there's a Zofia on the drone hole, she will most likely try to shoot a Zofia stun through the drone hole, canceling the bandit trick animation on whichever piece of hard breaching utility is trying to trick, right? Placing this ADS here will most likely stop it. Now, with Zofia concussions, it is a proximity-based mechanic, so it very easily could detonate before the ADS has a chance to catch it. But if you ever have a nade roll through this drone hole, or you have someone pushing bottom red, you can very easily place this ADS, and it covers these 2 primary hotspot areas. Now, the next ADS I want you guys to place is if you ever have a rafters player. And by the way, if you do not have a rafters player, you should most definitely have one. Again, as I said, holding rafters control, garage control, is like the heart of this defense. Because, as I said previously, this rafters guy with the rotate or line of sight that he's granted can deny default play. He can deny sight cross on his side. Now, if someone wasn't playing rafters and you completely reinforce these 2 walls off, now all of your team is either forced to play in cash or have someone solo playing rafters, but he can't really do much since the wall is reinforced. So yeah, second ADS rafters, just to kind of support this guy a little bit, you know, between nades. And even if you have a Wamai, which I'll get into later as well, he can play here, for example, if the enemy team is bringing Capitao. Capitao is a very strong operator to countering the rafters player with his firebolts. And then the third ADS, you can kind of change this one around a little bit. So, for example, if the enemy team is taking construction side heavy, then you would probably want to rotate this ADS somewhere around the door. I would suggest you probably put it in an area around where I'm about to place it, which is here. In my last strategy guide, I made it another clear point to maximize the amount of potential one piece of utility has. It's a rule of thumb to follow for any aspect of Siege. You should try to be as utility efficient as you can be. This one ADS is covering both the construction breach if they do open it, as well as the door. So it's covering two different areas with one piece of ADS. Very important. Now, his barbed wire. Where should you place this? Well, you can place it bottom red. That's usually a good bet to, a good place to place it, I should say. Simply because you never know when you might have an attacker trying to crouch walk up the stairs. And, you get that audio cue as well as that slowdown effect. And then you can peek over, react off the information however you choose. And the last place I usually like to put my barb is CC window. The reason for that is because a lot of the times you'll see or, experience someone trying to vault through the window and try to pressure sight and you take gunfights or whatever it is as an attacker. So you usually have someone playing this window holding this angle or holding that angle, and then, they try to jump in after they drone and, get 3 kills. So that's just a simple way to counter that kind of rat play, I guess you could say. Now, if you have 2 operators with 2 sets of barbed wire individually, then putting one construction door is also a pretty safe bet, so that way an attacker just can't run straight into the bomb site. Those are the 3 primary areas where you want to put one. Now, if you had Malusi, that's even better. You could put one CC window, you could put one bottom red, then you can put one on the server rack here, and that I shouldn't say deny, but that gives information whenever someone tries to run through, because it not only slows but gives an audio cue. So that is also a very good Melusi placement if you do have her available in your lineup. But you know, that's a pretty basic barbed wire layout, as well as you can very easily put one rafter stairs, so that way when the attackers try to take garage control, they can't just sprint up and take this gunfight on this guy playing rafters. So just a very basic way to kind of look at this bomb site, where you should put ADSs, where you shouldn't. Also, never put an ADS here on this wall, because it can be shot from the CC window. And ADS is a very strong piece of utility. I mean, it could be the difference between a teammate living or dying with a grenade being tossed during any given round. So, just to show you guys the angle, you know, you can very easily just walk up to the window, shoot it, and bam! There's an ADS gone. And also, that is most likely only going to cover the drone hole. Meanwhile, the one that I placed top red is going to get rid of any piece of utility flying over the railing, and also the drone hole simultaneously. So, you know, those are my ADS placements. Those are the reasons why I want to place my ADSs where I want to place them if I ever do play Jaeger on this bomb site. And next, I'm going to go over our wall denial operator, which is arguably one of the most important operators on this map, or sorry, this bomb site. And it's very important where you should place your utility and the different variables that go into it. Okay, so the next thing I want to go over is your wall denial operator. So this could be Bandit, Cade, or Mute. I think, in my opinion, I think Cade is the best wall denial operator on this bomb site, and even this map, to be honest, because he can place his Cade claws in a lot of very hard to reach areas where it either takes a Twitch drone, a grenade, or an Ash Charge or Zofia impact to get rid of it. And if the attackers have to do that, that's a huge trade of utility just for a simple Cade Claw, allowing them to begin their attack, because usually on this bomb site, your first step is always CCTV wall. That is your very first step, is opening that wall. If you don't have that wall open, then you're pretty much SOL. But Cade. So, the reason I think he is the greatest wall denial operator on this bomb site and on this map is because of the hard to reach places he can place his Cade Claws. So, I'm going to lay down a few examples of where you should place your Cade Claws and where you shouldn't, and what situations you should look out for. So, to start us off, if the enemy team is bringing Maverick, and they are going to Maverick the CCTV wall every single time, then usually it's a safe bet not to put your Cade Claw there. Now, if they're bringing like a Mav and a Thermite, or a Mav and an Ace, yes, you can argue that it will just make their job easier, but if you know for a fact that every single time you have played this bomb site, the Maverick and a Zofia or an Ash has gone to this wall to make it soft and then open it, then usually placing your Cades isn't really the greatest idea, because that now leaves garage walls open. So, again, you know, for the situation that I'm explaining, if they Mav this wall and then they go for garage right after, you're allowing them to pretty much get garage control for free, because there's no wall denial being applied to it. Meanwhile, Maverick counters every single piece of wall denial in the game. So, that is one example. And two, if you know for a fact that every single time the attackers are going for the CCTV wall, but they're not using Maverick to get it, then I'm going to show you guys two very impactful places where you can put your Cade Claws that make them almost undetectable and undestroyable. But they need to be supported with some piece of utility or player presence. So, the first two places to put your Cade Claws are rafters, and this is under the example of situation 1. So as you can see, this gets all 4 of the the garage walls. This denies any sort of hard breaching utility besides Maverick. And let's say, for example, they open the CCTV wall and, you know, they want to take garage control like the round previously. Well, guess what? Now the Maverick has to rotate all the way around and Maverick this wall. So that's now going to take up even more time from the attackers, which is a huge benefit. So usually you want to put it underneath the numbers here. That's like a good marker to have. Putting them underneath the markers will line it right up in between the middle of the wall. Now the next place for CCTV, the CCTV wall, and by the way, I take no credit with this. I learned this from Zyronic, and if you guys don't know who he is a excellent content creator. You can definitely learn a lot of good tips from him. He is by far my favorite Siege content creator, so I learned these two positions, or not necessarily this one, but because placing one on red is pretty default, but placing the one below here should be around this area. Yeah, it's like right around here is where the Cade Claw is at. That gets the right panel, and then obviously this one gets the left panel. Now, similar to the ADS, you want to make sure that you don't place it in an area where it can be shot from the CCTV window, and obviously that one can't be shot. So don't place it like around this area where an attacker can go to the window and very easily shoot it. So these are two areas where you can pretty much deny the CCTV wall for the entire round unless they know exactly where the Cade Claws are at. As I said, this one is pretty default, the position, and that's why you want the ADS top red. So, for example, if the attackers, you know, see the Cade Claw, they drone it through the drone hole. Okay, they have a sledge. They tell sledge come over to the drone hole, nade through, get the Cade Claw off, and then we can get wall. Well, if there's an ADS here and they don't know, you just ate up one piece of utility, which is a grenade, and that's a huge advantage. So, you know, that one is much more vulnerable, but it's still effective. So that is your Cade player. Now, you can mix a Cade with, for example, like a mute or something, because with mute, you can not only deny drones, but also pieces of utility. Meanwhile, bandit and Cade, usually it's kind of like two operators doing the same job. Instead of a Cade and a mute or a bandit and a mute, it makes it much more effective because a mute does more, and meanwhile, the Cade has a very specific job of denying the wall. Yeah, Cade, in my opinion, the best wall denial operator on this map, on this bomb site. Okay, now let's say, for example, you're bringing a Cade and a mute. What you should do in that situation is most likely donate your Cade Claws to the CCTV wall solely, simply because, you know, if a mute is denying this wall, then he puts a mute jammer here, Twitch drone comes through, shoots his mute jammer, and Ash goes below, shoots an Ash charge, or they nade it off, whatever it is. Cade, with these positions of the Electro Claws, makes it much harder. Almost impossible. Unless, again, they know specifically where the Cade Claws are at. But, yeah, so donating the Cade Claws to the CCTV wall, ideal. And then with the mute, in combination of the Cade in your lineup, place some mute jammers on the bottom garage wall. Now, I just want to show you guys an example that you can shoot these mute jammers off on both panels of the wall. If you put the mute jammer in the middle of the wall, so if you go prone here, if it's kind of hard with the hollow, but I don't know exactly where it's at. Let me get on the garage cam here. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, actually, I destroyed it. So, as you can see, you can shoot the mute jammers off on both of these panels, but it just takes a little bit more time, you know. Again, taking away 10 seconds away from the attacker's jobs is... it could be the difference between winning or losing a round because, you know, those 10 seconds could have been used for executing bomb site, planting, whatever it is. So, 2 mute jammers on the both garage walls, and then you can put one CCTV window for any drones that try to come through. You can also put one cache door if any drones try to come through, or the cache wall. So, you know, you have different areas where you can place the mute jammers, but most definitely, if you're going to bring Cade and mute, Cade, CCTV wall, donate 2 mute jammers to the bottom garage walls. Also, you can place a mute jammer top red. Really up to you. Where are the attackers coming from the most to make your adjustments off of that? Okay, so now the next thing I want to go over is your info operator. What kind of intel do you want to bring? Valk, Echo, Maestro. Personally, I like Maestro, I should say. 1, because he can zap people, so deal damage. 2, he can see through smokes. 3, it's bulletproof. If you guys are unaware, bulletproof meta, bulletproof utility is the strongest piece of utility that you can bring, especially in a collection on defense. It makes the attacker's jobs much harder. But, personally, in my opinion, I like Maestro the most. So where do you want to place your intel? Well, usually it's a safe bet to put one in each side of the bomb sites. So I usually like putting one here. Also, by the way, if you guys don't know about this area, you can get a Maestro cam all the way up on the wall. And again, I take no credit from this. I actually learned it from Timsy. Okay, so as you can see, that Maestro cam is much higher than this one here. So yeah, you can kind of get up on this barrel look up and jump on this telecommunication, whatever this stuff is, and then get your Maestro cam up there. By the way, I did not learn that. Or sorry, I did not find that, I should say. I learned that from Timsy, so I just want to make that clear. I take no credit in finding that. Now, the next hotspot, I guess you could say, for putting your Maestro cam is garage. Now, the reason for this is because, again, garage control, garage info is the heart of this bomb site. So having info on this area is very beneficial for the defenders, because if this guy dies and you need to know, can I retake garage? Is it safe? Are they already in? Are they outside? Whatever it is, you have that info now with Maestro. Another place you can put it is obviously in cache. I'm not really going to go over that because there's a lot of different areas where you can put it. So it's kind of up to you. I leave that up to you, wherever you want to place it. But what I do want to go over is who is playing rafters, because I have not touched on that yet. And again, if any of you guys watch my live stream, you know I live for rafters. This is my domain right here. This is my dungeon. This is where I live on this map, is rafters. I own this area like it's my home. Like, if I die, I lose this. Playing rafters is one of the hardest positions to play in this bomb site. So to make it a little bit easier, you usually want to have some sort of rotate here. Now, you can opt out for not having a rotate, and what has been developing a little bit more recent, and as I suck with the bailiff, I need to go on the other side, but what has been developing a little bit more recent on this bomb site is opening like a line of sight over the wall like this. So opening like a head hole or something along those lines. Now, again, this is something that you want to play around with, figure out if you like it, if you do play rafters, things like that. But opening up some sort of head hole. Now, what does this do? Well, if the attackers do take garage control, and they should eventually, and let's say they don't have a soft breacher anymore, they are now forced to jump through the window, simply because there is no rotate given to them, since there is only the head holes. Just imagine this area is still intact. It's only the head holes. And this also still allows the rafters player to deny any cross or default plant in the bomb site just because of these head holes. So it's a multi-purpose thing to do. Again, I leave it up to you, figure out what you like and what you don't like. But playing this area, so usually you want to rotate or the head holes, as I said. Now, another thing to do is open up the lounge cross here. A lot of people don't know about this angle. I don't know how they don't know about it. I feel like it's such a default thing to do. But, if the garage door is closed, then that's also a indicating factor of how flexible you are in your mobility and positioning for the rafters player. But you can see the lounge door there. So the stock door into lounge. You can also hold the lounge cross here, giving you complete cover from the R2 angle. And then obviously you have the cover from the rafters wall. So you can completely cut off lounge rotation ability just by holding one angle, cutting the map in half, or sorry, lounge in half. Very important that you guys pick up on this. But yeah, so this is just a few things to pick up on within playing rafters, what you should do, what you should not do. Now, the last thing I want to cover with this person and this operator, which is Maestro, is should you bring barbed wire or impacts? Now, that depends on what kind of utility your team is already bringing. So, for example, if you have a Jaeger already, probably want to bring impacts. Now, the reason for that is because if the garage door is open, and I'll see it time and time again, whether there's a Nomad or a Claymore on this door, and our team needs to peek this door to get a pick or two because we're low on man count, or, they're pressuring the bomb site too hard from the CCTV breach. Well, if you don't have impacts, you're not really allowed to do that, because usually there's going to be a Claymore or an air jab, and what that allows you to do with the impacts is just simply, as I throw it short, but simply throw your impact outside, getting rid of the Claymore or the air jab, and then you can peek out and do whatever it is you need to do, right? So having impacts help a lot with that, and also if you need to make a rotate here or open the lounge wall, you can also do that with the impacts. So kind of play around with it, see what you like, what you don't like. As I said, a lot of this is going to be trial and error. Alright, and the fourth operator I want to go over is smoke. So if you're not bringing a smoke on this bomb site, you're kind of trolling. It's arguable that you don't need one, but either having a smoke or a mute is ideal simply because of their shotgun and how much self-destructive ability they do bring for the team. So just to kind of go over this once again, either the head holes you can place on this wall, or you can also place the rotate right there. So head holes, rotate, I leave that up to you. Now, one thing I want to go over, and I don't think a lot of people in low elo know about this. It's called Swiss cheesing a wall. So, for example, if you have a Maverick that goes for the CCTV wall every single round, what you can do is Swiss cheese the wall. So what that is doing something like this here. Now, it's kind of difficult to do, but this is pretty much the... I shouldn't say difficult, but to kind of get the holes like this while still being attacked around them. It's more difficult than just opening the holes, but Swiss cheesing it is ideal because it makes the blowtorch and its effectiveness much more inconsistent, while opening the wall like in this straight open area like that makes it about the same. It's a little bit more inconsistent in terms of the blowtorch, but having these like jumps in soft wall to reinforced wall, like this area right here, makes the blowtorch very inconsistent. So that's something that you should do if Maverick is going for this wall every single round, and that's for any wall in this game for that matter. And then you obviously want to reinforce the wall after, and that will kind of slow down the attack just a little bit more. So again, we got the rafters rotate. Now, we usually want to have a red, or we always want to have a red rotate, I should say. So slapping a red rotate there, and then obviously going to reinforce the middle of this wall. And then usually you'll see a few shotgun holes there. Now what this does is, as you can see by me holding this angle, you can deny the rafter stair walk up. So it's a very common angle nowadays, but you can probably catch a person or two off guard by doing that during any given day. And then you'll usually see some sort of rotate put right here. Now it's kind of hard for me to do this because I don't have an actual crosshair, but some sort of rotate placed here. Now that allows you to get a little bit faster rotation ability into CCTV through that instead of going through the door. And then also you can play this angle here on the green box and hold the CC cross. I made this very, very low. Usually you want to have the bottom of it like right around here, so that way you can still vault through, but you don't like open up a headshot angle from the breach. But yeah, so you can play off green box, you can play off the desk. There's a lot of different angles that you can play with this. You can also play in the bomb chassis like this. So, kind of play around with it, test it out, see how you like it. But, this is very basic, self-destructive things that you see. Now, what isn't default is angles like this. Or, I guess in average day, gold elo, angles like this aren't very default, as I actually have one shotgun shell left. But, you can get an angle to stock. So this is the stock door into lounge right here, as you can see. And this is also main door into lounge right there. Okay, so as I was saying, placing these holes around this area. And then also, you can get a angle to the stock door here. Usually, you put it like right around there. That holds that angle. And then putting a angle like this also cuts off the other stock door walk-in. So off of these three angles alone, you have denied all accessibility into stock. Just by holding these three simple angles. And then also, what you can do is get an angle to new blue window, or sorry, door, by opening there. That is the blue staircase, or top blue stairs. And then also opening default is pretty default, no pun intended, since the attackers are most likely going to plant here in the attack. And then also putting a hole right around here. Actually, I am an idiot. But if you place a hole there, this is the garage mini stairs. Now, where should you place your shield? Well, you can place it here. This is an angle, or a position that you can place it. And usually you want to have like an ADS on the window, and then maybe one right around that area, so that way it can't be destroyed from either position. Even though it can be destroyed from lounge with an ash charge or a grenade or anything. Good to have some protection at the least. And then, to be honest, smoke as an operator really isn't that hard to play on this bomb site. Usually you want to play in cache, so that way you have all access to the entry points between con, red stairs, and then CCTV breach, CCTV window. So that way you can get up in a position like this, or even here, and smoke off an area. So, You know, if they were planting here, they'd be taking damage. I should have thrown that a little bit better, but just as an example, you know, this is like kind of an area where you are wanting to play. Yeah, that is much better, but you know, playing an area that allows you to deny breaching from any other areas from the attackers is kind of where you want to be with smoke, just to be in the best position to use your utility, right? So yeah, I mean, smoke really isn't that hard. Bring shield, place shield, make holes. Again, you can go back in the video, see what holes I made, and there you go. Now let's move on to the next operator. Okay, now the next operator I want to talk about is kind of your flex operator, I guess you could say. So it could be a Legion, a Wamai, pretty much anyone that kind of is fitting whatever piece of utility that your team needs to kind of make the attacker's jobs harder. So just for this example, I'm going to go Wamai, and the position that he should be playing in this video or this example should be lounge. Now, the reason for this is because if you have vertical pressure from the bomb site, right, applying another layer of vertical pressure can also be very impactful in how a team is going to be, or sorry, how a round is going to be defended. So, I'm just going to open up some basic angles, kind of show you guys what I'm talking about, what you should do in this position, how you should play it, because I actually play this position in comp. So the reason I'm opening that, as you can see, if the attackers do manage to open the bottom garage wall, this covers all of the rotation ability from the breach itself. So by holding this angle here, it's very advantageous to you, because not only are you only showing your head, but also you are forcing the attackers to kind of prone or crouch in order to take the gunfight. So this is one angle you can play, or area. Now you have to be careful of your blue jump in, because most of the time you're not going to want to barricade this door, since it is only one of your 2 rotation abilities. I guess 3 you could say with garage, but you know, playing bottom garage really isn't ideal. You can either go up red or you can go down blue and then come up main stairs on the other side of the map. The reason I picked Wamai was because his utility supports him in this position. Since he's mainly going to be soloing down here, besides maybe the rafters guy holding the lounge cross from the rafters, he's not always going to be able to do that. Since, you know, he could have his bottom garage wall open, his garage door open, CCTV open, whatever it is. So him having magnets allows him to put them in areas where I kind of meant to put that in the fridge, but whatever. You know, he can play his magnets to his own liking. Wherever he feels that he's going to be pressured from, he can place his magnets, and then that can help him kind of hold this area a little bit longer. That's why I picked Wamai for this example. But again, you can play Legion. That would also be good for, you know, placing a goo on, let's say, for example, the blue window jump in, or, you know, putting one in lounge, or sorry, stock, or the main door, or whatever it is. But yeah, well, my personal pick, if I am going to play this area, really strong gun, really great utility, just meshes really well with the area that he's playing. Or you could bring the, as you can see, I have impacts, or you could bring the proxy and put it on the blue jump in, but that is also an option if you so choose. But this guy's kind of trying to deny anyone trying to take below control, because this also ties into the Cade Claw that we previously placed right here on the wall. So if they can't get the red one open, then they're forced to get the one off of the underneath the CCTV wall. So playing this position denies that and wastes a lot of time and utility for that matter. So a very important position to play if you are going to extend downstairs. It's usually always good to have someone in lounge for the first like minute of a round, just to kind of shoot drones, waste a little bit of time, so that way, you know, the attackers can't run right in and then, you know, shoot an ash charge, get the Cade off, or sorry, the mute off, or whatever it is that is denying the CCTV wall. But you know, that is my personal pick. Again, you can flex these operators around their positioning, whatever you feel you need to do. But yeah, that is my knowledge of the map. I could very easily go much more in depth on why you should do certain things in specific situations, but I really leave that up to you, because it would be a very long video if I did that. But yeah, that is going to wrap up today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to the channel. As I said in the middle of the video, liking the video, commenting, or subscribing will have a huge impact on how the video will be put into the YouTube algorithm. Also, I want to mention again that Shock, Vexine, and I will be starting up a podcast. It will be premiering this Friday, January the 8th, so make sure you guys are there. If you guys want more details on which time it will be going live and where it will be, make sure you guys go follow me on my Twitter, which is linked below in the description. But that is going to wrap up today's video. If you guys did enjoy this video or this style of video where I kind of go a lot more in depth on what you should do strat-wise, leave me a comment below. I'm actually very curious to hear what you guys say about this style of video. But yes, that is going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.